Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, just for everyone who just joined, we try to do that as friendly as possible. So we decided to run the conference just on Zoom. Please turn on your cameras. It's just easy to understand and to see your reactions. And the format is the following: we have 20 minutes of the panel and 10 minutes for answers and questions. When you ask the questions, please turn on your camera because it's easy to see and to understand who is asking. And I want to introduce Sahin. Sahin is the CEO and the founder at RemoteTeam.org. And I believe it's the person who I even will share the website. So it's, as far as I know, it's a software which is you can hire the employees using remoteteam.com. You can pay the employees using the remoteteam.com. I believe Sahin will give you more details what it's for and what is the current traction and how he sees. But his report is on different topic. But Sahin, please do the introduction.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am so excited to talk about the diversity topic. To be honest, this is my third conference that I was talking about this topic, and the last one was unbelievable, amazing. And Dan, thank you very much for inviting me to Six Nomads. It's a community that I follow very closely and I really like because it's so active, and you guys are giving great value to everyone in the system actually. So thank you so much for inviting me. So I am I had 4 companies in Silicon Valley and I had 4 companies in Istanbul where I am from. So I'm a very serial entrepreneur. I think I started my first company 20 years ago when I was 16 years old. And to be honest, I never had office in my life. So I actually don't know an office environment. Even I had a 100 people company in Turkey 25 years ago. We were not doing it. 15 years ago, we didn't have an office. We were the first e-commerce company even in a third world country that has an office. And I moved to Silicon Valley 10 years ago. And I built my first company, Movie Lala, and we sold it to Giphy, and Giphy sold it to Snapchat. So I indirectly sold my first company to Snapchat. So the cool thing is I never had an office at that in Silicon Valley. This is my 4th company. So I always find like going to traffic, spending time in the office, wearing shoes, have to dress up. Like I never liked it. And I was lucky enough. And I remember very clearly, I had great investors in Silicon Valley. And when I was telling these guys, even like I have billionaires, CFO, big companies, they are all public info, amazing angel investors. When I was telling them 10 years ago, 8 years ago about remote work, they said, no, we don't believe in remote work. Hire local people, you're going to get hired and acquired. Companies will buy you because you have a local team, right? Now, it's totally opposite. You talk with an investor, you talk with the community. It's unbelievable. You see, no, day one, go remote. And I always managed the remote teams for a very long time. And I was always a CTO, and our companies were engineering companies. When your companies are engineering, then you end up doing all the work in operations, the HR, hiring, firing, the document, all the computers, payrolls, tax compliance, all the issues. And then in 2019 summer, I decided to build RemoteTeam.com, which I actually now I can really do what I was doing for a very long time and give the service and the best practices that I learned over the years actually. And this today topic, I really enjoy this topic. It's diversity and inclusion. And I actually trying to and this topic is very important in US. I think we are going to, this is the time of diversity. We call it, I call it in our company. So I always look like, I hear a lot of things about diversity, but I didn't hear anyone in that they totally nailed down the reason. And I was thinking like, what is the reason that we are discriminating the people? Okay, people are, let's say, we don't like different people, we are egoist, we are crazy, whatever, right? I always think like, what is the simplest reason that we can put it today and how remote can change that, right? And then I thought so much. I do deep meditation on this. And one day in the shower, I hit it. It's location. If you think about diversity, why we are different or bad to each other is mostly diversity. Like people are from Ireland in the old days in America. People are from Africa. People are from Armenia. People are from Israel, right? Because location together, right? So we can oversimplify this, okay? But don't go to the human nature of our egos. But in reality, we are really don't some people are not very nice to other people who are coming from other locations, right? So remote work is removing boundaries, right? When you are taking the location out of the equation, then we are removing and we are eliminating the location. So when we eliminate the location, I believe when we have no location, like everyone is the same location, over Zoom, over Slack, over phone calls, whatever it is, everyone has the same distance. So when the location takes off, I believe one of the root causes of diversity will be gone. And we are seeing this because in remote work, who cares where you are from? Who cares what you are, right? Who cares you are coming from another country? And I think deep fake is a huge thing going on. Everyone will have a like totally different face in like 3 years, and even their lips will probably speak in their own language, right? So when the location is gone, having employees or team people from Ireland, Israel, Australia, Africa will make absolutely no difference to each other. Zero. So, and what changed in the pandemic, sorry about this weird thing here. So what changed in the pandemic is companies sort of had to switch to remote, right? So the companies, okay, now sort of we accelerate the process of remote work, but I think remote work was already happening. In Silicon Valley, in tech, we were seeing this happening. And I think the biggest reason that it was happening is I believe we are living in an era called self-taught. People are learning by themselves, and people can become great engineers, great software developers, great marketers without going to a school, right? So people have a huge pool of smart people all around the world, and Zoom, Slack, these technologies were enabling companies to hire remotely. I think this trend was already starting, but after the pandemic, it just like super accelerated. The interesting thing I believe that might be a little bit different than many people believe, I believe companies are giving more importance to their employees right now in the pandemic. The weird thing here, if you look at corporate America, it's all about shareholder value maximization. That is what corporation means, right? But in the pandemic, they said, we don't care if we're gonna do profit or not. We are trying not to fire as much as people possible. So we will not fire people. We will keep the people. Instead of we're going to lose money maybe at the end of the day, but we want to keep the people because employees are more important. And when we have no offices, a huge cost is going down. So when the companies cut office expenses, I live in Cupertino, and in Cupertino, Apple spent $4 billion in their office, right? The people say 4 billion, but I believe it's double the price. So it means that for 10,000 people, they nearly spent 800,000, like $1 billion per person, right? Like it's crazy, just for one person. So I always say, like, if they send an RV in front of your house with a massager that will massage you with a private VPN, okay, you can still have the privacy. It will be better return of investment, and it will be cheaper than $1 million, right? And I saw this, I witnessed this in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco. Companies like WordPress were closing their offices in the South Park. So I think pandemic showed that the people are becoming the core of the company, and the biggest thing will be all digital, and it will be all around people. So, and I think the other thing that is changing, that will also change, and how we work together and how we actually include work, is this 8-hour work principle. And this principle made in England in the industrial age, that we work 8 hours, 8 hours labor, 8 hours rest, and 8 hours sleep, right? So we had this 8-hour work week. And I think this was this 8 hour, I look at this as, I really look at prison, office as a prison. It's very simple. When someone we want to punish in our society, what we do, we send them in a place for a limited time. It can be 5 day, 2 day, 1 day, or 1 hour, right? Some people go to, when they do something small, they go to prison for 2, 3 hours, right? I really think office is a prison. It's a prison of mind, okay? And the pros and cons is, now people are seeing that the cons are so much than having no office is way more efficient for companies, right? And when we don't have this 8-hour linear work structure, I definitely believe people will be more happier in life. People will have more time. We're gonna do asynchronous working, and we don't need to stuck in 8 hour in a place, and we don't need to stuck in 8 hours. So I believe when we are more happy, no location, and then we have to work remotely, I think the whole diversity and inclusion, diversity will be nearly eliminated 95%, and people will be included wherever you are, whatever you are, right? So another thing that I believe how remote work offers a good, interesting thing is the mobility. So when people are mobile, they can really work anywhere in the world. And I believe 5G will change this, because when you have 5G internet connection anywhere in the world, you can just open your laptop in Costa Rica with super fast speed, and you will have instant connection. You will have flexibility increase because there's no 8-hour craziness anymore. And your productivity goes the roof. And I witnessed this so many times. I built apps in my previous companies with 4 or 5 people that Apple or Facebook, I met with Mark Zuckerberg once, and he told me that what you guys build is ahead of Facebook in AR, because like when really 5, 6 people work together in a super happy environment remotely, wherever they are, when people are more happier and more flexible, it just opens up the creativity, right? And then all these things also lead to a diverse environment, right? So in our company, in RemoteTeam, we have people in Africa, we have people in South America, we have people in Russia, we have people in Turkey, we have people from East European, right? And when you have all these, when people have less ego, more happiness, more flexibility, by default, people are happy, right? By default, people are nice to each other. And then I see this whole thing becomes more allowing other different cultures to come in actually, and decrease the diversity. So the general consensus of the work life start to dissolve after the pandemic. So of course our houses where we live is not very, might be not comfortable for, compatible for remote work as well. But I believe in the near future, we're gonna see homes like 2 bedroom, 2 offices, 1 bedroom, 2 offices, because I see some unbelievable funny things in my Zoom calls that people are in the garage, people are in like working in the bedroom with his wife, 3 kids. Okay, our life is, our homes and our current living structure is not very compatible for most people. We are not very compatible, but I think it will be very compatible very, very soon. And I think this is also what I see in a lot of companies, and we have thousands of companies in RemoteTeam. I see in these worst times, people become more open and work together and be close to each other in communities, right? And then this will help sync the diversity and inclusion into work and everyday life. And I think what we see right now because of the pandemic, this is very interesting. I think we are entering in a time that this is very weird. It will sound very weird, but even the democracy is gone. Democracy is not working anymore. What it works, who gives most importance to minorities have wins. So instead of the majority wins, we are totally moving in a time that minority and people who include the most kind of people, most different kind of people will actually win. And we see it many, many times. Like I witnessed this in San Francisco. It's like American Disabled Act, right? Because we want to include people. We don't want to give them uncomfort. So in America, every street and every toilet everywhere needs to be compliant with American Disabled Act, right? So in Silicon Valley, because we have multiple different genders, now I think it's 7 gender, I think, or they are defining the 8th gender. We create our toilets in 6-7 months that become genderless, right? Because there is maybe just 10,000 people, 20,000 people, I don't know the number, just don't, they feel bad in going to men's restroom or women's restroom, right? So the solution is, okay, let's do genderless restrooms, right? And this is for the minority. So we can see first time in the history, maybe, a small group of people can totally change the dynamics of how we are living. And so I start to believe the current democracy model of, okay, if you have more than 51% vote, you are winning, not really actually. Now, even they look like they are winning, but they have to bow down on the minority request, right? And this is changing, and this will just increase and increase and increase. So the companies and the leaders of these communities, and I always look at communities like Six Nomad is the first people who go and looking for gold in California, right? We are really living the future where 99% of the companies are not even remote right now, right? So we are actually be the leaders in 10, 20 years or 5 years. And when people are saying, we moved to fully remote, we said, we were doing remote for a very long time. So I really, I really like the question. So I actually want to go a little bit faster. So I really think this pressure and attention makes giant companies to bring their diversity and inclusion into their A game. So now every CEO, every leader, every person is thinking, okay, how are we gonna make our companies more diverse? And the more diverse we do, we have more ideas, and we have more creativity, and it will give us a competitive edge. And remote is totally changing that, God bless. So, and I believe this, I'm always a hopeful romantic, not a hopeless romantic. So I definitely believe the world is shifting and changing to a totally better world. Even the times currently looks really bad. People are dying. The government's totally failed. We have a crazy president. It looks really, really bad, but I have so much hope for the future that, so this is what we believe. It's really the time of minorities. And I think race has no importance in any job anymore. Gender has no importance. Color is normal and beautiful, and everyone will have similar color probably in the Zoom in 2 years. Your abilities and talents matter more than your diploma right now. So the whole university system is changing, right? Your appearance, everyone is sitting in Zoom anyway, right? You are fat or slim or keto diet, intermediate diet, doesn't matter anymore. So this is great because now we're just gonna work with each other because we are part of a goal, actually, right? So I also believe that there is a new democracy of remote coming, and we are doing a lot of things. We have an in-house lawyer working on this. So I want to finish this a little bit faster. So it is time to change and become better in leveraging the diversity. And we are doing something very cool, actually. So in RemoteTeam.com, we are actually adding every company's data, and we have 1.9 million companies. And we're gonna show them how many people of color they have, how many females, biological sex, of course, defined female and male they have, right? And we're gonna show the world how we are so in the baby steps of diversity and inclusion, because most companies are still very male dominant or defined male dominant. A lot of companies still hugely white color of people. They don't have a lot of people of color. And I think when you see it as a number, and I'm so happy that I think in US recently, one of the bank CEOs become a female CEO. And in the Fortune 500, there is only 5 Black people, which is unbelievably crazy in my head. At least it should be 20%. So when people see it, how we are not diverse, I really believe it will make people to focus on the diversity more and more and do more when they really see it in front of their eyes that, oh my God, our companies are not diverse. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope you guys like it.
Yes, Shahin, do you hear me? So we have missed you for a couple of seconds. And we have a question. Actually, the question was asked to the Sasha, our previous speaker, but the question was, give me a second. Over my years of job experience, I have discovered that many companies who hire remotely don't like hiring people from Africa, especially Nigeria. Why do you think this happens? Secondly, why do you think most remote companies underpay developers from Africa and India?
Yeah, this is, don't like is not a great word, but you know, probably people who is African don't like to hire some other people, right? So it just probably didn't work for that company, right? So I think when companies are going remote, I believe that they first need to they need to build a strategy. So they have to select a culture and work with the culture. Right? If the company is just hiring I have no idea about why Nigeria is different than other countries or why Russia is different than other countries. Right? Every culture has pros and cons, right? There's no superior culture or no superior nation, right? Even our crazy president think he's the superior God, but other than him, everyone is equal, right? So it probably didn't work, right? Of course, some cultures have different business ethics than others, but I have engineers who works in Nigeria, great for Silicon Valley companies, right? So you cannot generalize it. And if it didn't work, probably didn't work for that company, right? And underpay is a big thing. I don't believe we live in a world that what people will pay in US prices to someone in India. I don't think the world works like that yet, right? There is something called McDonald's index. This is very funny. So the hamburger price is different in every country. We don't have one currency yet. But I definitely believe, and I see this in remote because people are RemoteTeam.com, people are paying globally. A Silicon Valley company will pay more than the average in their local country. That's for sure. And I think it's a great start. It's a great start. And I think in maybe 20 years, when we become a more global village, this will increase more and more. But currently, of course, this will be underpaid because you are trying to make someone happy in that location. But this problem is even exists in Silicon Valley, right? God bless, 5 years ago, like the same position, because that person has a different gender, like female people were getting less money. This is crazy in my head. Now, God bless, they made it equal, right? And I think if we are in minus, you have to do a little bit more to go to the middle ground, right? I believe the companies even has to pay more, but I think this will take time. Yeah.
We actually have Karen here. Sorry guys, if you have any questions, please join us and ask them. But I want to introduce Karen. She's a huge HR tech leader from Israel. Hi,
Yeah.
Karen. Maybe you want to add some words to the diversity and inclusion thing?
That's very kind of you. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen.
First of all, it was wonderful. I loved it. I love your passion, and we need more people like you. Maybe just a small comment. I was judging in a startup hackathon last week, and everybody was talking about diversity and inclusion. Everybody else was from the States, and I was from Israel, okay? So I'm from the Middle East. It's just like for them, like India, okay? So they were talking about diversity and inclusion, and still I was not acknowledged, I would say, okay? So I think the difference, the distance is still way too big. It's more of a concept. Even some of the companies are not ready for it, but it's good that the conversation is going. It's absolutely ridiculous that we even have to talk about it. But since this is the situation, but it's still, I'm telling you, they're talking about diversity and inclusion and not doing diversity and inclusion to the people right next to them. So it's for them perhaps still an idea, okay? And not something.
It's a cool thing to do. It's a cool thing to talk.
Exactly. I'm feeling this is still in the level of buzzwords, although of course there's so many out there who are doing amazing work for diversity and inclusion. But most of the companies are maybe listening to the talk about it. And as we said, buzzwords. Still a lot more to do, absolutely. And I will say something else.
I really believe it's the 1%. It's really like when you look, I saw a picture, it totally changed my mind. It was a magazine, Fortune magazine cover. And they were showing the small faces of the Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah.
It was 500 pixel, right? Because it was 500. And there's only 4 people who is people of color, right?
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
But we don't need to be harsh on humanity, right? The humanity designed like this, the capitalism designed like this for at least 500 years, right? So it will take time, but God bless, it's going really accelerated, right? But it will take...
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry if I stepped. We have a little gap in. I just wanted to say that VR, I think, is fixing all of this in a way, okay? Because I don't know if all the people on the call have tried to do remote work on VR, because it's absolutely out of this world, literally. It's amazing. And those applications definitely have the ability to show, I would say, or represent diversity, okay? So you can choose any kind of avatar, and they really are more open that way. Perhaps it will help.
Yeah, I really believe deep fakes will now this is Zoom, right? It touch up a little bit experience. My face is not that pretty, so it just makes it a little bit pretty, right? I believe that real avatars is coming absolutely real soon. And I think people will go in Zoom, will go to any kind of avatar, and it will look like real in 3 to 4 years. That's for sure. And avatar is really becoming part of our life. And
yes,
I really believe this is a great time for remote work. It's really great. People, the look is not that important anymore, right? Some people don't even open their Zoom, right? I have some people in my team that I never saw them actually, right? In reality, they never open their camera, right? So, and I think this Zoom, the new telecom technologies, God bless, Apple decided to put a better camera in their iMacs. They're gonna put a better camera in their MacBooks, and everyone gonna follow that. We're gonna have 3D face scanners like the iPhone. So everyone will have an avatar, right? Everyone will have a more prettier face, whatever they believe pretty is, right? Yeah.
Just to jump in real fast, because I was talking a lot about kind of how these big companies are leading and working across distance. I will tell you though, from a technology standpoint, a lot of the companies I'm working with, these large enterprises that have been around for 50 years, 75 years, it's even a learning curve to get them to understand how to use the video conferencing, how to turn on the camera. So so depending on what industry you're in, I think that learning curve is going to be a lot faster. You know, I love hearing about the VR and the avatars and all of that, but I'm like thinking about my own clients and being like, what year will it be when, when they adopt some of that?
I totally understand what you're saying, but I'll tell you where the difference is, okay? The difference is that VR, all you have to do is put that thing on your head and you're getting all those things that you lost in remote work, you're getting them back. You're all together in the same space, okay? To be honest, I'm on this call, but I did 5 more things, okay? As I was listening to this call, okay? I had another call, I did other things as well. When you're on VR, you're together in the same room with your team. So this is not the kind of technology like everything like AI and all the other crazy stuff. This is really bringing humans back to being humans, being together in the same room. I think it's going to catch faster than any other technology.
It'll take role modeling. It'll take role modeling. You're going to need people role modeling this and setting expectations that this is the tech we're going to use.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's, have you tried it, by the way?
I have not tried it in a video conferencing situation, no.
Yeah. So once you have a headset, ping me and we'll do this together and you will be amazed. That's it.
Yeah, but
guys, thank you for the conversation.